I'm Patrick Stegall. I'm a criminal defense lawyer in Memphis. Today I want to talk about your first court date. If you have been charged with a crime, you've got your first court date coming up, and you're wondering what's going to happen, what can I expect, what do I need to do before then, we'll go over that. Maybe you've just been arrested and you've now bonded out of jail and you are looking around for information because you have no idea what's going to happen. So you're wondering, maybe you have court tomorrow for your first court date. Or maybe you've been given a citation and you have a court date in maybe a couple of weeks, or a court date coming up for a ticket or something like that. And it's your first court date and you just want to know what's going to happen and what can I expect. So we'll talk about that. Your first court date is always called arraignment. Okay, arraignment is your initial appearance in front of the judge. That is where you plead not guilty. I guess you could plead guilty on your arraignment date, but nobody does. You typically plead not guilty because nobody just wants to walk in and plead guilty on the first court date without knowing anything about the case, without having seen the evidence, without having had a chance to put up any kind of defense. So you just plead not guilty. Even if you're thinking, I'll probably plead guilty, or I just want to work this out without a trial, you go ahead and plead not guilty at first. Or more commonly, your lawyer will do that for you. If you have a lawyer on your first court date, it just makes things go a lot easier because you won't have to talk as much. Your lawyer will do that for you. So your lawyer can enter the not guilty plea for you. Now you're also going to have to probably stand in front of the judge, depending on the judge or the county it's in. They have different procedures about this. Some of them your lawyer may be able to get that part, may be able to have you just sit down for the whole thing. But you may have to stand in front of the judge with your attorney, if you have one, and be read the charges. That is part of the legal process where you are formally read the charges because you have to know what you're facing. So you read the charges, it's just a formality. Sometimes it can be waived. And then typically the case gets reset. You know, I said in these cases, typically people don't plead guilty on the first court date, so they're not all resolved on the first court date, they get reset. So your lawyer will talk to the judge or to the prosecutor, and it will get reset to another date where, in the meantime, you and your attorney will work on the case and talk about it, and your attorney will talk to the prosecutor and see if there's a negotiated deal that can be arranged or something like that. Or maybe you get ready for trial. But that first court date, it's usually pretty simple. There's the entry of the plea, the reading of the charges. That's typically it. And again, if you have an attorney, you may not have to go through any of that. You may be able to just sit down in the court the whole time, or even wait outside while your attorney goes in and handles all that. So you're not going to have to make a big statement to the judge or have a long hearing. It's the first court date. The legal system, you're going to find out, works pretty slow. They like to take things nice and easy. So that first date, not a whole lot's going to happen. But your attorney, at least, I'm always working behind the scenes, trying to get a resolution, trying to get things sped up as best I can. Now, do you need an attorney on your first court date? You don't need one necessarily on your first court date. But like I said earlier, it really helps to have one. The sooner you can get an attorney working for you, the better. So if you have a lawyer that first time, it just makes things go a lot smoother and faster. If you don't have an attorney, you're going to be one of those people who's waiting there all morning and even into the afternoon for your name to get called, and then you're told you can go on your way. If you have an attorney, we like to get in there early, take care of business and get out because I have other places to go and you do too. So I like to get my clients in early and get them out as soon as possible. Now, it can be an intimidating process to go to court if you've never been before. So it helps to have a lawyer. I like to, walk my clients over there, show them where exactly they need to go. It can be an intimidating, confusing place if you've never been there before. So, also, some courts, like I've mentioned, courts can do this differently, can do this procedure differently. Some of them have different customs. One thing, if it's a domestic assault case, you may have to go through a reading of the bond conditions. Some judges require that because they take domestic cases very seriously. And if there's a family member or an intimate partner that you've been charged of assaulting, that judge on your first court date may read your bond conditions. There's probably going to be a no contact order in place. So some judges, part of their policy, they read those bond conditions to you. So you have to stand up there in front of the judge and listen to them go through this document. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but it's something that some judges require. They require you personally to be there standing in front of them, listen to those, acknowledge that you have heard them, and they give you a copy of them as well. So each court kind of has its own little customs. But the main thing is on that first court date, do what you can to get an attorney. If you've been arrested and you've got court, typically the time between arrest and first court date might be as little as 24 hours or it might be a few days. So you don't have a lot of time. If it's a citation, you have a little bit of time. Sometimes it can be 2 or 3 weeks from when you get your citation to when you get your court date, whether that's a traffic ticket or that's if it's something a little more serious like a shoplifting charge or a marijuana possession charge. Police on those are serious misdemeanors, but typically police will give citations rather than arrest you. They'll give you a citation and you simply come to court on your first court date rather than being arrested, taken to jail and booked and all that. So you're going to have anywhere from a day or two to 2 or 3 weeks probably until your first court date. So if you're watching this while you've just been charged, whether you just got out of jail or just got your citation, you've got a little bit of time. Best thing to do is to talk to a lawyer. So if you are in the West Tennessee or North Mississippi area, you're watching this, or that's where you've been charged, give me a call. I would love to hear about your case, and I can help you on that first court date and all the other court dates after that. Thanks for watching.